Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Game News Roundup, where we go over the latest gaming news, sales, and whatnot. Actually, before we get into the gaming news, a quick check if anyone hasn't been to the site, like if anyone's been wondering, where are the estimates? Well, we made the change. We're going to be posting the data once a month by region as the data becomes available, although January has been a bit delayed as getting the tools ready, fixing bugs took a little bit longer than we were expecting, but that's such is the way of life, because normally Japan wouldn't be out like at the beginning of a month and have those estimates, and then Europe data usually posted sometime in the middle of a month. America's data when that monthly data comes out, can vary. It could be the middle of a month, it could be the end of a month, who knows, but all the data is technically available for January that we do collect. The weekly data we collect ourselves, as well as monthly data that does come out once a month. So yeah, change here. We only have Japan up, but I will be posting through this week the Americas estimates, Europe estimates, and then the rest of the world to get the worldwide estimates should be up by the end of the week. Each day I'll do a different one. Just spread it out just a little bit. Obviously going forward, they'll be spread out over the course of a few weeks. Consistency, what is it? Yeah, right? The USA monthly stuff, it's like, it comes out sometimes in the middle of a month, sometimes at the end of the month. Likewise, next month, it's not coming out till, February data for the USA. It's not coming out, the monthly data. It doesn't come out until March 28th, I believe is the date, the end of March. So we will have Japan and Europe data ready to go by the middle of March, and then it'll be at least 2 weeks before the US data comes out where I can do the Americas and then the rest of the world for the worldwide estimates. So yeah, it would normally be Japan data we posted first, then either Europe or the Americas, depending on when that weekly, and then the monthly data comes in. We'll be doing those estimates. Probably Europe might come out first most of the time, but it just depends on when stuff gets posted. You never know. It's always a question mark. But the main reason for this change, one, I was getting very burnt out doing these estimates every single solitary week for 6 years. Like, it was the beginning of 2017 or the end of 2016. It was right before the Switch came out. So I don't remember the exact time, but you're talking about like 5 or 6 years of every single week, other than maybe me taking going on vacation for a week here and there. Just it's a little tiring. And then plus in the monthly data will come out and we have to make adjustments, and then I want to post a bit more accurate estimates. These are still estimates based on what data is available, but waiting on the monthly reports and data coming out should mean the initial estimates will be more accurate. Will they be perfect? No, adjustments will still occur, but the adjustments should be much smaller, and the figures will hopefully be a lot closer to the actual full-on sales, but we get it's a small percent of data that we do get. So that's why we do consider them estimates. So yeah, Japan data is out. As you can see up here, we got the weekly data, but we also have a drop-down where you can see the weekly data for all the weeks in the current month. And then a new monthly chart, monthly one now instead of just the weekly one, shows the total month for the latest month here being January, and again, just Japan for now. This being Monday, it's February 20th, and hopefully tomorrow I'll get the Americas data posted, Wednesday Europe, and then either Thursday or Friday I'll get the worldwide estimates done. So we have that. That is the general gist of how things will be going forward, and TBA is to show that, yes, the data is not posted yet. It is coming. Please be patient. So yeah, Japan, Europe, North America, and then worldwide estimates. And then I will be doing, before I did one weekly breakdown for the worldwide data every week, but since these are going to be monthly, I will be writing an article for each country/region country. Obviously, Japan here, breakdown of the Japan stuff. As well as one for, I'm not exactly sure how it'll be yet, either just the US data, because people are into that, or maybe North America, or maybe all of America's. I'll see what people want. Easy enough for me to do, one of those three. And then going forward, at least with the Japan article, we will have written down here, again, the monthly sales, as well as lifetime sales next to it, and then the breakdown for each week sales for Japan. So yeah, the Switch was the best-selling console in Japan, with 314,000 units sold in January 2023, and has brought its lifetime sales of 28.2 million units sold, again in Japan. PS5 sold an estimated 188,000 units to bring it up to 2.61 million units sold lifetime. 4,200 Series X and S consoles to bring it up to about 410,000 units sold lifetime, and the PS4 sold 6,700 units. Generation over generation, PS5 versus the PS4, and then Series X and S versus Xbox One for the same month. I'm surprised I didn't say same week, because that's how I've been doing it for how many months now with doing this, but January 2023 compared to January 2016. PS5 compared to the PS4 is up by over 67,000 units. So closing that gap between the PS4 lifetime sales, and we will have an article hopefully up by the end of this week or next week comparing PS5 and PS4 sales in Japan. And then the Series X and S compared to the Xbox One sales are up by nearly 4,000 units. Xbox One sales were never very good, and Xbox Series X and S sales have more than tripled lifetime Xbox One sales already, so it's not really a big surprise. Year-over-year sales, PS5 sales are up by 121,000 units, or 180%, nearly 3 times higher than they were a year ago. Switch sales are down by 97,000, or down about 23%. Series X and S sales are down by 2,600 units, about 37% year-over-year. And PS4, out of nowhere, there's a lot of stock, especially compared to last year in Japan. We're up 6,600, or 11,000%. Yeah, sales were like 50 last January, 60, somewhere around there. And month-on-month sales, again, this is January compared to December, so unsurprisingly, sales are down month-on-month. PS5 are down 44,000 units. Switch sales are down by 446,000 units, and Series X and S is down by nearly 2,000 units. Big drop for Switch, but, you know, holiday sales, lots of stock, at least for the Switch. So yeah, and then again, over the coming week, you'll see reports on the Americas sales, Europe, and then we'll do the worldwide articles, similar to this style. And then once we get into February data, I will add a year-to-date total sales, but obviously it didn't make sense to do when it's just January figures. All right, so now going into the news from today, we found out Microsoft has increased the Xbox Series X and S in another country, this time in Sweden. The price of the Series X has increased from 5,700 by the Swedish currency. I don't know what it is called. To 6,200, or $550 to $600 USD equivalent. The current exchange rate of when I wrote that. Mind you, the Series X is $500 in the US, so that's a bit of a difference. Although, if the Sweden is like the UK, that does include the tax already. Well, in the US, the prices do not include tax. And the Series S price increased from $3,600 to $3,900, or $348 US dollars to $377 US dollars. And also this month, Microsoft increased the price of the Series X and S in Japan. This time by 5,000 yen. However, those price increases, if you look at compared to the US, it's still cheaper in Japan than it is in the US. But yeah, Series X is equivalent to about $447 US dollars, and Series S $283. But yeah, so who knows? Is this Microsoft going to slowly increase prices of the Xbox in different countries, or is this going to be it? Sweden, Japan, maybe we'll see some other European countries. I don't know. Last August, I believe, Sony increased the price of the PS5 pretty much everywhere except the US. Like, I think Canada, Mexico, Europe, Japan, Asia, whatever, all the prices went up a bit. How much it went up? It depended on the country. Some places went up more than other places. But yeah, I don't know. Will we see more price increases for the Xbox consoles? Maybe. Maybe not. We'll probably find out in the next, month or two, if they do. And also, Microsoft did increase the price of their games from $60 to $70, first-party games, starting in this year. So we do know Forza Motorsport, Redfall, and Starfield will be $70 when they launch. So now, first-party games from Microsoft and Sony are $70. Nintendo is still $60, maybe? Except for Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild sequel is $70. But that's... Nintendo did say they will figure out the price of games on a case-by-case basis, and that's the only confirmed game to be $70 by Nintendo. And we do know Pikmin 4, which comes out after Tears of the Kingdom, is $60. So, who knows? And I was thinking Nintendo might have held off until their next console to raise the price to $70. But, hey. Who knows? Who knows what their plans are? I mean, heck, their plans could change from week to week, depending on the economy and all that stuff. But yeah, also, new Mario game confirmed to be in development. I know it's not really a shock. It was a good assumption to assume the next Mario game is in development, but it is in development. Nintendo designer, producer, and director Shigeru Miyamoto, in an interview with IGN, was asked why a new Mario game hasn't appeared to coincide with the opening of the Super Nintendo World theme land at Universal Studios Hollywood, or the upcoming Super Mario Bros. Movie coming out, I think, in a couple months. The price entertainment is increasing. Yeah, right? And yet in previous generations, you would see nothing but price drops over the course of several years. The console was out, like a year or two after it's out, you see a price drop. A year or two after that, another price drop, until they get to the point where like $100 or less. I think the PS2 was down to $100 at some point. You ain't gonna see that anymore. I mean, the Switch hasn't seen a price drop. Came out in March 2017, unless you include the Lite, but you know it's missing features. You know, the Lite's $200. The main OG Switch is $300, which is still $300. And then there's the OLED Switch, which is $350. So, yeah. But yeah, also the last new entry in the Mario series you could kind of consider would be 2021's Bowser's Fury expansion, which was included in the Switch port of Super Mario 3D World. But however, the last brand new mainline 3D Mario game was 2017 Super Mario Odyssey. My gut is telling me Nintendo is waiting for the Switch 2. The Switch successor. Whatever it's going to call, I don't know, the Super Switch. You know, who knows? Nintendo with naming consoles, who knows what they're going to do? I mean, I guess you could say the same with Microsoft. And then there's Sony. You know the next PlayStation is going to be the PlayStation 6. It's kind of a given, considering. But I expect the next 3D Mario game to probably be a launch title with the next Nintendo console. While, like, we had the Switch launched with Breath of the Wild, although it was also on the Wii U. Came out on the Wii U and the Switch. But it was a launch game with Breath of the Wild. So I see the next 3D Mario game being a launch game for the next Switch. I also would expect to see Mario Kart 9, depending on when the console launches within that first year. If it comes out like in March like the Switch did, maybe that holiday season we'll see Mario Kart 9. So we'll have a new 3D Mario game, we'll have a new Mario Kart, maybe, you know, some mid-level games in between as well. Possibly. This is just going off like my guesses, my predictions, I guess you could say. Who knows? We'll see. Also would not expect to see the next Nintendo console for another year. March 2024 at the earliest is my guess. It's maybe holiday 2024, maybe March 2025, at that 1 year range. Seems kind of like the most likely because that is 7 to 8 years after the launch of the Switch, which is about to turn 6 years old. Hard to believe. Where does the time flies? Man, I swear, as you get old, it's like my parents were like, yes, as you get older, time seems to move faster. Like, yeah, I see it. Can it slow down a bit? Why all those days in school where time would just feel like it stands still? Gonna go faster than but move slower in F. Well, what can you do? But yeah. Anyways, moving on. Sega is increasing their employees' salary on July 1st. So yeah, Sega announced its plan to increase the average monthly salary of current employees by approximately 30% on July 1st, 2023. They also say that the annual salary basis and the average salary basis average increase will be about 15% per employee. So employee for the overall per year, we'll see about 15% increase in pay. To achieve this, Sega will be raising the base salary and increasing the ratio of base salary within annual salary by incorporating parts of bonuses. Nintendo did increase they're about to increase their wages in Japan by 10%. To make sure they don't want to lose employees. It's interesting how you're looking at like a lot of big tech companies. Yes, they're doing big layoffs, laying off thousands of employees. And then there's Nintendo and Sega. We're going to raise their wages. They're important. So also, yeah, the starting salary for university graduates will increase at 35%. So new hirees will increase from $1,652 to $2,233 due to this revision. I'm going to assume that is monthly pay. It didn't say specifically, but I'm pretty certain that would be monthly pay. That is a nice increase. This is for people just out of college or university. That is nice to see. Sega is increasing the price, as long as Nintendo as well. I wish more companies would do this. Increase wages. better benefits, especially here in the U.S., But, I probably not the place to get into it. But, yeah. I'd say seeing salaries go up is always a good thing to see. Going from good news to, it depends how you feel about Saudi Arabia. They have increased their stake in Nintendo twice last week. Twice. Not once. Twice last week. So yeah, Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, a wealth fund chaired by the Crown Prince, for the second time last week, has increased its stake in Nintendo. This is also the fourth time the public fund has purchased stake in the gaming giant. This also requires the company to have the money to increase those wages. Yeah, but most companies do. A lot of the big tech companies, Microsoft, Amazon, Sony, Meta / Facebook, Google, etc., Apple, they've been seeing record profits. Or Disney even. I know they're not a tech company, more of an entertainment business, but like record profits. But no, they don't want to increase, you're not really seeing increased wages and increased benefits. A lot of them have seen a lot of thousands laid off lately. It's like, it's not good. It's not good, The gap between the people, the executives, and the people and the average worker has just been growing like crazy. Now, does an executive get paid more than the average worker? Yeah, that's fine. But how much more is ridiculous? People at the top making so much more than the people at the bottom now. It's not good. Oh, just going by comes not tech. Oh yeah, it's not just. Well, yeah, tech industry. Most of them are making record profits. Or still making a lot of profits. I think a lot of them are expecting some slowdown now that the pandemic is over / winding down. I don't know. Technically, it's still around, but a lot of places I think are going to start treating it more like the flu. Going forward with again the vaccine or whatever, in the fall with the flu vaccine or whatever, and then once a year and whatnot. I think that's probably what it's gonna be. We'll see. Of course, every country will be different. So, but anyways, so yeah, Saudi Arabia has increased their stock 4 times. And again, the second time in 1 week. Saudi Arabia's public investment fund now holds an 8.2% stake in Nintendo. It is now the largest outside investor in the Japanese gaming company. Being an outside investor, clearly, I guess there are people at Nintendo who own a higher stake, but they are the largest outside investor now in Nintendo. Also, from that report from the Associated Press, the public fund also owns $2.9 billion of stock in Activision Blizzard, $1.7 billion in EA stock, and $1.2 billion in Take-Two stock. So yeah, originally in May 2022, the public fund bought a 5% stake in Nintendo. Last month increased it by 1% to 6.07%. And then last week increased it by 1.01% to 7.08%, is now up to 8.26%. So it's been going up. And yet, the Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince has had a goal of making the economy of the country far less reliable and dependent on the oil industry, which at this point I would say is probably on the decline as people move to renewable energy. Say buying electric vehicles, or we'll be seeing more wind turbines, solar panels, geothermal, etc., and moving away from fossil fuels. Or I guess you could say, what is it? What's the other thing? Natural gas, instead of using oil to generate electricity as well. Let's see. Moving on to more gaming news. The next mainline Sid Meier Civilization game is now in development at Firaxis Games. So if you're a Civ fan, be excited. A new one is in development. I mean, you might be waiting a while. Might still be in early development, but, here we are. But not so great news. Firaxis Game Studio head Steve Martin, and XCOM franchise and Marvel's Midnight Suns creative director Jake Solomon are leaving the company. Martin spent 25 years at the studio, while Solomon worked at the developer for over 20 years. Firaxis Games CEO Heather Hazen will replace Martin as the studio head, and Hazen will manage the studio's development teams and lead its mission to build the best strategy games on the planet. Ed Beach will remain as the creative director on Sid Meier's Civilization. Beach has been an integral part on the franchise for 15 years and led the development on Civilization 6. So yeah, Civ fans, new one is in development. A few people are leaving the studio. Sorry, 2 people are leaving the studio. New people are moving up. Let's see. Xbox wants to build on the potential they are seeing in India. Arjun Varma? I am sorry about mispronouncing your name. I'm guaranteed I was probably wrong. The manager at Xbox's global expansion incubator team, in an interview with Games Industry, discussed the idea at Xbox and the potential growth in India. So his direct quote: "The idea behind GXI is to engage and connect with the local developer community in India. We want to support and enable this ecosystem to find success. We're looking at how we can get these titles published on Xbox in addition to other platforms. The gaming industry has boomed in the last few years, and India is a really interesting market for us. There's a lot of cool content coming out, and we want to build on the potential that we're seeing. Microsoft wants to give indie developers in India the same tools and resources that Microsoft's biggest partners have access to." And he also added, "The given access to indie developers to his tools will place them on the same footing. We're also looking at how we can leverage the ID at Azure program for indie developers. Once you log in, you'll immediately get about $500 worth of free Azure credit. And when they start their journey, they will have an opportunity to earn up to $5,000 worth of free Azure credits. This will lower the barrier of creating games." And the team been meeting with developers of all sizes to discuss their strengths and gaps. This gives us opportunities to support them as Xbox. From what I've seen, the kind of content and development across genres is really impressive. They've got a lot of potential in terms of narrative and art style. These games would do really well if given the chance. The GXI team is also focused on localization, as there are multiple languages in India and different cultures. If they are coming from a different region, you'll want to make sure their messaging and marketing have localization integrated the right way. That's the kind of support we will provide for sure in terms of guidance and mentorship. The console market is at a very early and nascent stage in India, he admitted, and the country is a predominantly mobile market. The GXI team is looking to expand on the potential and bridge the gap between smartphones and gaming on consoles and PCs by the use of cross-platform tools. We're telling these devs to include mechanics that enable easy porting from or to consoles and PCs. Cross-platform is the right way to go for a market in India. We encourage that, and I've been seeing mobile devs include mechanics that simplify the porting process to consoles and PCs. Varma also opened up about the adoption of Game Pass in India and what it could mean for developers who are looking to work with Xbox. Once they have a concept demo and start interacting with us, there's a chance to publish it on Xbox Game Pass right from day one. Depending on how the game is received and how it is in terms of enjoyability and replayability, further consideration will be given in terms of Game Pass. 4 more things, it looks like. Sega. Sonic Frontier sales greatly exceeded their expectations. So they have expectations in a good place. I'm not going to name a specific publisher. There's a publisher that they never have games that meets their expectations, because I guess their expectations are way out the window. But if, it might be enough hint for some of you to know who I'm talking about. But anyways. Sega's parent company, Sega Semi Holdings, in a Q&A with investors revealed sales for Sonic Frontiers exceeded their expectations, and the sequel will have a bigger budget. We are proceeding with this title, Sega Frontiers, based on a strategic sales plan. We conducted intensive promotions around the November release, and as announced recently, we have been able to achieve good results so far. A temporary sale was held around Black Friday, but the selling price has since returned to normal. We have been able to achieve these results while maintaining a certain level of quality, and the number of units sold greatly exceeded our original estimation. We will continue to sell over the long term based on sales strategies such as pricing, promotions, and the development of further DLC. I heard the story seems good. It seems like people are like, this is a great first basis into a good 3D Sonic game, which I personally haven't played it, but I will be playing it at some point. Oh, you've played it? Okay, yeah, I haven't played it yet. I do plan on playing it at some point. I've got a long list of games to get through first. So, whether it's on stream or even off stream, today on stream, if anyone was wondering, yes, we'll be wrapping up High on Life. And it'll be starting God of War 2018 next time. As long as they finish up High on Life today. For the next big stream game. Test. Oh, you check. I think Emerald's trying to see his delay on stream right now. Sega added, we expect development costs for new titles to grow even larger in the future. I mean, that's how it's always been. Costs of games go up to develop them. We will strive to ensure solid quality in the development of major titles from our existing franchises. However, development labor costs will rise due to the impact of the global external environment, and we expect this trend to continue for the foreseeable future. Since it is necessary to take on these challenges for major titles, we are proceeding with a bigger budget, even from the basic research stage, for Sonic Frontiers sequel. Therefore, we assume that development costs for future new titles will increase accordingly. Gotta reload the page. Sounds good, Emerald. And also, by the way, Sonic Frontiers has sold over 2.9 million units as of the end of December 2022, and the game released on November 8th, 2022 on the PS5, Series X and S, Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And now we got Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal expect to release 5 AAA games by March 2028, although this does include games they are co-developing with other developers. So yeah, Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal are expected to release 5 AAA games by March 31st, 2028, according to CEO of Crystal Dynamics and Eidos parent company, Embracer, Lars. I'm just going with Lars. Lars. Just gonna stop there. During the quarterly earnings presentation today, or last week at this point, he defined a AAA game as one that has over 100 developers at the time of the peak development phase and notable marketing budget, and expected to sell 2 million or more units. Embracer must also have a notable economic upside if the development is paid by an external partner. One game that appears to meet the criteria is the upcoming Perfect Dark title, which is being co-developed by Xbox first-party studio The Initiative, as well as Crystal Dynamics, and the game is being fully funded by Microsoft. Another game that probably also meets the criteria, unless it's not going to be expected to release in the next 5 years. 6 years? 5 years? Yeah, 5 years. Is Crystal Dynamics' new Tomb Raider game, which is currently being built using Unreal Engine 5. It is also rumored a new Deus Ex game is also in early development at Eidos Montreal, and the studio is also working on a new IP and working with Microsoft on games that include the new Fable game. And under that, does them helping develop Fable count? We don't know. And does Perfect Dark count? We don't know. But in order to release 2 studios release 5 AAA games in that amount of years, maybe. There's also a possibility of a new Legacy of Kain game. Following a recent survey asking fans about interest in a potential revival of the franchise, which had over 100,000 responses. And yes, I might be one of them. I might be a fan of Legacy of Kain games, and I would love a remake, a reboot. I don't know how to describe. I mean, okay, I guess a remake. A modern remake of them or something. As long as you keep the main story. You know, you have the good action. You keep some of the puzzles and whatnot. Yeah, it's been a while. First Legacy of Kain game came out in 1996. And the most recent entry, Legacy of Kain Defiance, released in 2003 for the PS2, original Xbox, and PC. It's been 20 years. Or almost 20 years. Some point this year will be 20 years. But also, details here, Embracer plans to release 31 AAA games by March 31st, 2028. Mind you, Embracer owns, I don't even know, is it 100 studios at this point? I have no idea. It's a big number, although a lot of them are smaller studios. 17 of these 31 AAA games are in full production, 9 are in pre-production, and 5 are in the concept phase. And only 6 of them have been announced so far. And 8 of these AAA games will be from Gearbox Entertainment, 11 from Saber Interactive, 6 from PlayOn, 1 from THQ Nordic, and 5 from Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, as we discussed a minute ago. And 4 of the AAA games are expected to release during Embracer's next fiscal year, from April 2023 to March 2024. 24 of these games will be published internally, 28 will be developed internally, and 23 are based on IP owned by Embracer, 24 are based on established IP, and 7 are based on new IP. So 24 being published internally, which means, do the math here, that's 7 AAA games from Embracer that are being published by someone else. So that does lead the credence that Perfect Dark and maybe even Fable are included on this list of games that they've mentioned. Maybe. A couple more quick things. Xbox's February update has started rolling out last week. It adds the carbon-aware game downloads and updates, which makes downloading games. It'll download games like in the middle of the night and do updates to the console in the middle of the night. So it'll be using less energy to help save energy. Also has new touch controls if you're using Google Home app, and the ability to hide game art when selecting tiles on your Xbox Home background. So yeah, with this new carbon-aware thing, for every 2 consoles that switch to shutdown energy saving for 1 year, we will save the equivalent amount of carbon removed by 1 tree planted and grown for a decade. It might not seem like a lot, but if you add that up to hundreds of thousands or millions of Xbox owners who do this, it'll help offset a decent amount. But we'll see. I personally be using it. Might as well save energy when, helping save the environment, or I guess, harming the environment less. As well as saving yourself on your electricity bills. Even if it's just a little bit. Every little bit helps. It adds up. So yeah, let's see. Hiding Google. Yeah, using Google Home. And a couple of other little things. So yeah, Xbox February update should be out now for everybody. And Sony Interactive revealed the PlayStation Plus game catalog games for February 2023. Game catalog and classic games for February 2023, which will be available starting tomorrow. At the time of recording this or filming this, Tuesday, February 21st. Speaking of which, I believe is it in 2 days, I think? PlayStation VR 2 does come out February 22nd. So yeah. If you are a PlayStation Plus Premium or Extra member, you'll have access to Horizon Forbidden West, The Quarry, Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, Outriders, Scarlet Nexus, Borderlands 3, Tekken 7, Ace Combat 7, Earth Defense Force 5, Oninaki, Lost Sphere, I Am Setsuna, and The Forgotten City. If you are a PlayStation Premium or Extra subscriber, which I believe is the Tier 2 and 3 levels of PlayStation Plus. I am forgetting the name of the base one, but these games are not included in the base PlayStation Plus subscription. You have to pay for one of the higher 2 tiers. And I believe it's extra. You also get access to classic games from older consoles, which being added this month. Legend of Dragoon, Wild Arms 2, Harvest Moon, Back to Nature, and Destroy All Humans are being added to the classics lineup of games. And I think that's going to do it for today's Game News Roundup. If you enjoyed it, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment. As I'm saying all the time, trying to get to 10,000 subs, and I'm currently a little over 300 away. Slowly inching my way up there. Maybe this year will be the year I get to 10,000 subs. Fingers crossed. Hey, Alyssa, how are you doing? So yeah, watching this on YouTube, hope you enjoyed. And we'll be back soon for some more Game News Roundup.